Okay, y'all. It's Hefe over here with Capone News. Today we have a special guest, Lil Kelpy.
What's up?
Uh, so introduce yourself.
Yeah, I'm Kelpy. Y'all know me as Lil Kelpy, Kelpy the P. Call me whatever you want, just can't call me broke. And this is Crystal right here.
Right. Okay, so first I wanted to ask you. You have a Orange County background. That's where you're from, right?
Most definitely, born and raised.
How does one that's grown up in Orange County get into the lifestyle of the game?
I mean, I'm guessing everybody's story is different, but as far as I go, it was basically just like, hustling when I was younger, doing whatever I could to get a bag. And then with these girls, the way they came about in my stable is basically they was already kind of dabbling in the lifestyle themselves, and then I kind of just put them on some real game, turned them out a little bit, and then we went from there.
That's right. So being that we're doing this interview, it's not in Orange County.
Yeah.
How did you get here today?
I drove myself. I know y'all was saying some shit about my mom driving me to the no jumper, so I risked it, no license, took the Benz, whipped it here.
Okay. So being that you're young,
Yeah.
how did you get into it? Like what made you take it to the next level of really just stomping down
Yeah.
and getting to the bag?
Well, like turning hoe hustling into some actual game. Basically, the way that came about was just realizing that there was more money and more respect in doing it. And I'm not saying that after that interview that I'm respecting and shit like that, but we're definitely running up our bag. So the way I went about it was kind of just meeting these two girls. And like I say, they found me, I found them, however you want to put it. I basically just put them on some game from my conversation abilities and speaking to women all my life and shit like that. So just use that to my abilities and put them on some game.
That's right. So, being that you both were young,
Yeah.
have you encountered any, let's say, scary situations, like close run-ins with the law or anything like that?
Yeah, most definitely. Being that I got my license right now, there's been times when, I had some shit on me I probably shouldn't have had, and they were in the car, and we were in an area that's, heavy with police patrols and shit. They come real close to getting us. And as far as outside the game, I've had definitely my fair share of run-ins and charges and cases brought against me and shit of that nature.
Okay. So, being that, you're in the game, there's a lot of stuff that comes with it. You know what I'm saying? Have you ever knocked anyone or been knocked for any of your girls?
I never knocked nobody's bitch yet. Don't forget that yet.
Yeah.
But being that this is my only bitch now at the moment, bottom bitch. But the other hoe, she's out the game and shit like that. I didn't get knocked for her or nothing like that. Nobody served me with that. But no, I never knocked anybody. Never got knocked for a bitch. But the day is young, as I like to say.
Okay. So here's a perspective, right? I was watching the No Jumper interview, and the first 26 seconds, Sharp is on you about the jacket.
Yeah.
Let me hear your reasoning as to why you think he was upset about you wearing the jacket, and then I'll give you my opinion on it.
Yeah, honestly, my opinion on why he really hated the jacket, not even why he hated it, but why he didn't want me wearing it, is because I think he feels like I'm perpetrating the old school, not even perpetrating pimping, but perpetrating the old school. So he basically thought that I was like taking inspiration from the old school pimps that wear the fur coats and the colorful suits and shit like that, like Bishop. Shout out to Bishop. So I think he just took it as like I was making a joke out of that, especially with the $ chain and all that.
Yeah.
But that's my opinion on it.
No, yeah, for sure, because that's what I've figured too.
Yeah.
So when you went there, what went through your head when you put on that furry ass coat and that $ necklace? Because it definitely fits the stereotypical type of what people assume a P to be. You know what I mean? Furry coat, $ with the cane and the hat. And
exactly.
That's all you was pretty much mentioned.
Yeah.
What made you decide to wear that particular outfit to the interview?
I like to stay fly. I was thinking about the rabbits that had to die for that coat, thinking about the fact that it's the middle of the summer, I never wear that shit, so I wanted to look fly. I put that shit on some realism, whatever people want to say about that. I felt comfortable in it. I felt fly in it, so I put that shit on and walked in there.
That's right. So Sharp, he was grilling you. Do you think a part of that was because he feels you aren't playing the game right, or he's genuinely trying to help you have a better future and step away from the game? Like what?
I mean, if I'm being honest, I thought in the beginning that it was really he was trying to see me as like a son figure that he could educate and give some game to about like legal businesses and shit like that. But then after that interview, I really just figured, you know what, this dude's clowning on me, using me for views and shit like that. I don't think he believes or even cares if I'm really playing the game to his rules or to the rules that exist. And I kind of just think he was being a player hater, honestly.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, you know, you got your chain
Yeah.
and your earrings and all that stuff.
Yeah, I ain't wear the chain today, but like I asked for a diamond tester, and everybody's calling it fake. I ain't got the chain on, like I said, but y'all can diamond test the earrings if you want.
Cam, you got a diamond tester?
Yeah.
Hell yeah. Yeah, bust that bitch out.
Hold on. Okay.
You can hit whatever side you want, whatever's easiest.
All right. How do you?
You just gotta get it right on the
Oh,
stone.
duh.
Oh, shit, yeah, that too. Yeah, you hear the blinging. Y'all hear the blinging.
Okay, let me check the other side.
Yeah,
Make sure
most definitely.
Make sure you ain't only got just
Yeah. Y'all hear the blinging. That's screaming real diamonds, not no moissanite, not no CZs, none of that bullshit. We keep it genuine around here.
Okay.
My chain will make that same sound. It didn't go with the shirt, so I didn't put it on today. You know what I'm saying?
one. Okay, well, okay. Look at you, young flower player. I see you. I
Yes,
see
sir.
you. So, Crystal, I have a question for you.
Okay.
So you've seen the Sharp interview, right?
Bits and pieces, yeah.
How do you respond to Sharp calling you a druggie and saying all these things about you? What's your response to him?
Honestly, I feel like he hates on most of the girls that go on his channel, or really anyone else that goes on his channel. But, you know, growing up is hard, you know. It's not always easy, and sometimes you need something to take the edge off, which most people do. Everyone has their own different choice of substance or whatever it is. But as far as I go, yeah, I've dabbled here and there, done my fair share of fucking around, you know. But I have my head on my shoulders. I know what I'm doing at the end of the day. I told myself I will never be a tweaker under a bridge, which is not going to happen. So he can say whatever he wants about me, but I know that I'm smart at the end of the day as much as I possibly can be. So
That's right. And to touch on the drugs real quick, you say how you battle an opioid or whatever.
Yeah,
addiction?
opioids. I mean, I'm honestly out of the prescription part of that. Really, I was fucking with lean heavy, like a lot of other, young people do. I was fucking with the lean and the real Percocets and hydros and script shit. I wasn't never touching no fentanyl or none of that. But I can say I'm clean on that shit now. I'm just sipping kratom and vaping and smoking the occasional cigarette. But I ain't touched no prescription pills since early summer. It was the last time I poured up. And it's working, kratom, it's still a drug itself, but it's legal and you can't die from it. So, I'm not spending all my money on it. It's very cheap. It's, something I can go buy at the gas station or the smoke shop or whatever. But yeah, I had a opioid addiction because I quit weed because that shit was making me hella paranoid after like 4 years of smoking. So I kind of just, motherfucker want to get high, I switched to another drug. And I switched to something that felt similar. But I knew the risks when I went up and, got addicted to that shit. And, I'm pretty much in the process of getting myself out right now.
That's right. Being with every industry across the board, everyone has influences.
Oh,
you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Who are some of your influences in the game that inspires you? Like, who are some?
Yeah, some higher ups, some OGs. Well, Sharp he wasn't one of the major ones. The major ones, well, honestly, a lot of people are just gonna, like laugh and shit. But I used to read a lot of the works of like Iceberg Slim, I watched a lot of Bishop's interviews, No Jumper, and other platforms and shit like that. But I'd say my number one is definitely Iceberg Slim because I feel like we had a same way of coming into the game, not in terms of like life situations going on, but in terms of just, having the gift of gab, being able to talk to bitches and shit. And so he's my number one inspiration is Iceberg Slim. A lot of people's, I feel like. But Sharp was definitely on that list, you know. Just after the interview and watching a lot of his other shit, I'm not saying I don't respect him no more, but I lost a shit ton of respect for him after not even my interview, but after just the shit he was saying prior to that interview.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. Because I most definitely heard about Sharp during the cross-country pimping days when they was dropping those DVDs. But let me ask you this. The term serve, when you serve someone, do you know the purpose of serving a P?
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure everybody has their own kind of purpose to it, but in my opinion, if I was to serve somebody after I knocked a bitch, it would kind of just be like a throwing it in your face, like, haha, I got your bitch, you ain't a real one, or you ain't on my level type shit. But like I said, that ain't happened to me yet. I'm not saying it never will, but I feel like once you've been in the game long enough, you're going to get served, you're going to knock some bitches here and there. It's just part of it, you know, it comes with the game.
Most definitely. Yeah, so I believe I was always told that when you're serving someone, because you don't want them thinking like something happened to them, like you gotta like let them know, like,
okay,
so it's
sure.
like, you know, that she got knocked, or if she might have went to jail, you know, like a motherfucker want to know that, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
You know, you're playing with people's livelihood, so
100%.
that's definitely a part of the game that that is definitely has to be you know, has to happen.
And just to touch on that, I kind of feel like that's honestly changed a lot too. I feel like originally that's, you know, it's a really good thing to be doing it. I feel like nowadays, you know, P's be knocking their bitch. They used to pay their warrants and shit if they had any outstanding warrants. Now they don't even be doing that shit. They just be, you know, taking the bitch, and, you know, the other dude, if he's still paying bond on it, he's still stuck with that bond even though he don't got the bitch making him bread no more. So I feel like that's the way it was supposed to be and the way it was for a long time. But, like, you know, that shit's changing too, just like a lot of other aspects of the game.
No, yeah, most definitely. And then to touch on this some more, because there's tons of P's, you know, that I know that have that sip lean on the daily, pop perks, and do this, that, and the third.
Yeah.
Why is it, do you think, he singles you out for being open about it versus P's that he already may know that might have these addictions? Like,
I feel like my age is a big part of it, you know, still being a teenager. I feel like he just doesn't think I can be playing this game because I'm so young. But then at the same time, you know, a lot of the other P's out there, regardless of their drug habits and all that shit, he's known him, or at least known of him for a little while, whereas I just kind of came out of nowhere, essentially. So I feel like he just thinks I'm running it up for, you know, to pay for my drug habits and all that shit. But in reality, you know, like I said, I'm getting sober. And same with her, you know, it's a process, but we're definitely working on that, and we're progressing, you know.
Most
without
definitely.
no 12-step.
Most definitely, man. Most definitely. So another thing I took from the interview at the end of it.
Yeah.
The number that you quoted was like 18 bands or some shit that they took from
Yeah,
you.
it was $18,909, which is what they put on the paper. That was after I had to call the sheriffs up and say, yo, y'all underreported this shit. So they came back, they added another, I think it was like $544 or some shit to it, but it was still underreported. So I know one of those sheriffs pocketed that money, or, you know, didn't count it right or some bullshit like that. But knowing the corruption of the OC sheriffs, you know, being that the sheriff was, a few years back, Mike Corona was actually caught on a lot of jury tampering and other corruption charges. I think that had a big thing to do with it, was just the corruption of the department, you know.
Yeah, most definitely. All right, so I have another question for you, Crystal. Being that you're in the industry, what would you say is the most common like fetish request?
That's a hard one. Probably butt stuff, things with dildos, that sort of thing.
Okay.
Yeah.
What so tell me this, what's the craziest request you've had? Shit. Go ahead, put it out there.
Yeah, tell them.
Put it out there.
Frog tied, hog tied.
All that shit.
Frog tied?
Yeah. They like want, or sometimes they like to do it themselves too, or they'll ask for you to do it, but it's just like tied up in a certain way. They're with like rope or tape, or it's probably the weirdest thing I've ever gotten.
I done filmed some shit. I done seen some shit in regards to that. That shit's, it's wild. But hey, I'm not knocking nobody's kinks. They're all into what they're into. You know?
Okay, so you part P, part cameraman, right?
Yeah, shit. I mean, like I said, I started out without knowing a thing about OnlyFans, but then I kind of just started like realizing it's a legit hustle and shit, so I started getting into it. I mean, it's not our primary source of income, but it's definitely a nice little, you know, side business to our trap.
Okay. I hear you. So here's another question. Would you say y'all are like some local jokers, or have you been traveling? Have you went cross country with it? Have you gone statewide with it, or do you just stick to your area? Because that's another big thing that is you gotta go across the board.
Yeah, if you really want to make a name for yourself, you got to hit cross country. We'll get to that point, but right now we're strictly local jokers. We've done like to touch more on the OnlyFans shit. We do content out of state, if we're gonna travel somewhere just for a change of scenery and shit like that. But as far as like the actual game goes and shit like that and booking, that's all local joker shit. Staying in my area, but not because of fear or nothing like that. Just because no license, it makes it hard to even drive to Vegas and shit like that. Where there's some real action going on.
No, most definitely. Have you been in like a scary situation where you might have been like on one of your like dates or something? Have you ever been like in a situation where you might have been like scared or afraid or something?
A little nervous, yes. Mostly like if we're going to a room or something, I'm making sure that we're not taking any extra time to get there, or we're going where they say we're going. But not really, just mostly afraid of getting shorted on money and things like that.
Has that happened to you or anything, or everything's been smooth so far?
Pretty smooth for the most part. I have been a little bit, but like there's time involved, so nothing shorter than the amount of time that is supposed to, like, a requirement for a certain amount of time. I always get that amount, but sometimes if it's shorter, then it'll be like, oh, this is what I have, which is reasonable, yeah, but that's only happened like once, which is kind of lame, but like
We'll get it back though.
Yeah, I'm not trying to put myself in a bad situation, so yeah.
Most definitely. So after you did the Soft White Underbelly interview, I noticed that Sharp did a video by himself, just speaking on you.
Yeah, right after.
And then you went to the Sharp Tank.
Mm-hmm.
What was your opinion of Sharp before he did the response to the Soft White Underbelly, and then what was your response? Then what's your opinion in response to Sharp after you met him and got interviewed on his platform?
I mean, my opinion of him when he did the response immediately after Soft White was exactly how I figured he would be on the Sharp Tank interview. But at the same time, there was this little middle ground in between those two times where we were talking all cool and shit in the DMs, and I was FaceTiming him. I must have talked on the phone for an hour or two with him. And he made it seem like completely different than it was going to be when I pulled up to the Sharp Tank. And I showed up kind of like, it is what it is, however it turns out. But I went in there expecting something completely, entirely different from what it actually ended up being.
Yeah. So, and then what, like, before you, like, met him and all that, what was, like, your opinion of him and all that? Like he was like one of your influences, you were saying?
Yeah, he was an influence for sure. I thought he was cool, not necessarily for his standing in the game, because I hadn't known about him until seeing the Soft White Underbelly interview, which I went and watched because I saw him on No Jumper. Mm-hmm. But so I started doing a little bit more research into him after seeing him on there. But as far as like having a name for himself and shit, I didn't really know too much about that because I wasn't in the game at that point. But yeah, that's about it. Like my opinion on him, it's changed a little bit, you know what I'm saying? Like the respect, it's still there, but a lot less.
Most definitely. So I gotta ask you, coming back to the jacket.
Yeah.
Were you hot in that motherfucker?
Nah, honestly, not at all. Shit? Nah, the studio was air conditioned as fuck. So I was like, bro, I'm comfortable as hell.
Okay.
And yeah, no, it wasn't warm or anything like that. It was already like a almost overcast day. I'm not terribly cold.
Oh, okay.
It was cool. Yeah, it was chilling.
Can I have some of that water?
Sure.
Sorry.
You good.
But the only thing I was like a little disappointed about, honestly, for wearing the jacket is I didn't get to show off my tats, but at the same time I felt fly, so I wasn't about to take it off, especially not when they told me to. If I had taken it off on my own accord during the interview because I got too hot, that would have been cool, but I wasn't taking them off when they told me to,
No, most definitely. Did you feel like, in a sense, it was like an intervention?
Yeah, I mean, I felt like it was an intervention 100% more than an interview. But I feel like less than both of those, it was just a roast session. You know, I feel like they really just brought me there for the views, to roast the shit out of me, not give me any game, because I didn't leave with no game, and I came out with the same amount of game I came there with. So yeah, it was really just a roast session in my opinion. Some people might see that as an intervention, but he didn't really give me no interventions other than shit talking my past and acting like I didn't have no struggles coming up, you know.
Most definitely.
Yeah.
I feel you, young fly player. At any point, did you think it could have got physical? Because when I was watching it, like, the first time I watched it, I was like, damn, like, Sharp is hot. Like, he's like, dude is like really.
Oh no, he was
really,
pissed for sure. I was getting
Yeah.
under his skin. He was pissed the fuck off. But
Yeah.
I don't know. I didn't see it in him, like him assaulting me on camera, especially with the other dude there. The way that would have looked, me being 20 years younger than him and shit like that. His homie being there to back him up and shit. I didn't get scared at all. That's why I was so laid back the whole time. I was like, this dude's gonna talk a big game about violence, as far as violence goes, talk a big game, but not do anything. So I was chilling. I was laughing. I was smiling most of the interview. You know what I'm saying? Like, it didn't scare me. It honestly was just kind of funny and a little pathetic to me.
Yeah, most definitely. Would you do another interview with Sharp and Suspect?
I would do another interview with both of them, but if I was to do an interview with both of them, it would be on my platform, because I'm not going to be making them money at my expense again. So if they want to come on my platform, one of them, the both of them, however they want to do that, I would prefer just Sharp alone, because I don't feel like he needs a cheerleader. If he's what I say I am, if I'm really not real like that, then why'd he need another dude with him? So if he wants to come on my platform, by all means, let's get it cracking. We can do that shit tomorrow.
Yeah. When Sharp was telling you to like take off your jacket,
Yeah.
did you think maybe it was a joke at first, or did you ever at any point think about taking it off?
Okay, well, I didn't think it was a joke. I thought it was like a serious request from one of the cameramen or something. I was like, oh, they want to see my tattoos or something, which is why I brought that up. It's like, oh, they want to see my tats, like, prove I got my ink and shit, because that costs money, so it shows kind of how much money I've been making. But, after a while of them saying it, I just thought like, yo, they actually want me to take it off, so I'm definitely not taking it off now.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I never really thought it was a joke. I thought it was like a serious request from the cameraman type shit.
Okay. Sharp says you're disrespecting the game and that you've never been on the track. Would you say that's true, or you've actually been to a track?
No, we've hit beach and ball without getting incriminating. We've been to beach and ball, and they've walked that shit a couple of times. There's just more money and a lot less. My favorite word is rolled, but a lot less cops out there and shit like that, with just doing it from posting ads and shit like that. But no, they've hit the track for sure. I told Sharp that in the FaceTime call. I told him that in an interview. I told Soft White I don't really like him on the track, but they've been out there and shit like that. So yeah, most definitely we've been getting our feet dirty a couple of times.
Most definitely. And so back to you. You mentioned this, but he kept saying that you're like on meth. You don't strike me as a person that's twacked out or nothing.
Yeah.
Like,
No,
I
I said I dabble here and there, but I was sober for a full month not too long ago, and whenever I do something, I'm always sober for like a week after, I'm not like doing it every single day or anything like that. No, I've done it before, yes, but am I on it all the time? No.
Okay. What so you had a cool, calm response to him grilling you, how he was grilling you. Why didn't you walk off the podcast when it was getting really intense? Like I was actually shocked you didn't do that. You actually stood through the end, and then when it was over, you left. Why didn't you just leave when it was like the peak of him like hollering and yelling at you?
Yeah, no, I just got a lot of confidence. All the shit they're saying, I know their game. To try and break me down and get out the game and all that shit, because they view me as a threat in a lot of ways. So I was like, you know what? I'm gonna act professional, because that's what I came here to do. We're doing some Hollywood type shit, so I'm gonna treat it like some Hollywood type shit. I just stayed calm and collected, kept my composure the whole time. And basically the reason I didn't start roasting him back and shit like that is because I felt like if it wasn't the type of response that he wanted to get, then he probably just wouldn't have posted the interview, and that would have wasted a trip down there, because I had to pay for the gas to get down there and shit like that and take my time out of my day. So I was like, you know what? If he's not going to post it, there's no point. So I'm going to just give him some shit that he can post, and I'll clear it up afterwards.
No, yeah, most definitely. At some point, Sharp said that he was gonna take off on you.
Oh yeah, several times. Yeah.
When he said that, like, what was like your mental response? Like, how like what was going through your head when he said that?
Yeah, no, when he was saying like, yo, I'm gonna punch you, I'd take that coat off you right now and shit like that. In my head, I was like, I'm waiting. But then, my body, I was like, you're not gonna do that, bro. Like, come on, if you wanted to do it, you would have done it. You wouldn't have given me an empty threat, You would have came up, you would have taken it off, and shit, you probably still would have gotten the clicks. It wasn't in you, you know what I'm saying? It was on you, not in you. It was in your voice, but I didn't really hear the real emotion in it, There was really no substance or truth to it. It was just for clicks.
What about Suspect saying that he'll like the same shit?
Man, I wasn't paying no attention to him. Like I said, I see him as a cheerleader. I used to fuck with that dude too, like music-wise, as far as that goes. But nah, I was ignoring what he said. He was on my left. I was looking to my right the whole time. I was like, me and Sharp are here. I don't know why you're here, but yeah, nah, I wasn't paying no mind to him.
Yeah. Okay. So OnlyFans.
Yeah.
The digital pivot.
Oh yeah.
The Big Church mentions. What's your take on that? On all like the OnlyFans world compared to the game? Do you think that you could see yourself making that transition, or?
I would love to make that transition. I feel like even though they both involve, sexual stuff, I don't feel like they're really like the same thing. But I definitely would love to transition to that. It's just the money, at least for me right now, is not nearly comparable. OnlyFans makes us a little bit of money on the side, but it's not even close to our main trap. You know what I'm saying? We have other traps on the side of that are making more than the OnlyFans right now, but I would love to change that in the future. I would love to get her on that, me on that, not saying me on camera, but, me behind the camera, maybe even on camera one day, day is young, but as far as right now, the digital pivot ain't worked for me like terribly awesome or great, but, it's working. It's doing its thing for sure. Yeah. A lot of people on there doing way better than they would be doing in the game with OnlyFans, so it just for me right now, not at that point,
No, yeah, most definitely. And so back to you, Crystal. How you don't strike me as like a much of a jealous type of female, because there's a lot of jealous females in this shit. How was it like working with like another female? Like, do you prefer to have a partner working with you, or do you prefer to be?
I mean, yeah, I do. It's fun, someone that's on the same level or same page as I am, doing the same thing, And I mean, we're very good friends, so no jealousy there at all, no.
Yeah. And kind of to piggyback off that, it's still all love to her. She just realized this life wasn't for her, but she's a real smart girl. She can do a lot of great things, and so same with Crystal. But she just really wasn't cut out for this and shit like that. But it's all love,
Yeah, most definitely. Is more like, is recruiting part of your program? Do you see yourself bringing more people to the stable?
Oh yeah, most definitely. I got without getting incriminating again, some shit in the works like that. As far as OnlyFans goes as well, but in terms of the actual game, yeah, we're working on that right now. Got a few potential clients, so you might be seeing me, with a couple more added sets of toes in the future, near future.
Okay. So, do you have like a favorite area of where you guys like? You don't have to say what area, but like a city or something. Do you like prefer like OC over LA, or do you like only stay in like OC?
I mean, shit. There was a time where we were going to LA probably every weekend before I got pulled over and some shit happened in terms of the law. I was not scared to drive. I was going to LA every weekend. Around the time I was like really going crazy on my spending and shit, I would go eat up there pretty much every weekend. Go shopping and shit like that. But yeah, no, it's all love to LA and OC. Obviously, I'm gonna prefer OC because that's where I was born and raised. That's who made me who I am. But nah, I fuck with both of them. I just be in OC more often.
No, yeah, definitely, because from the outside looking in, a lot of people don't expect people that are from OC to do like a lot of different like street shit, which is not the case, because I know tons of trappers, tons of P's, and tons of baddies running it up out there.
Oh yeah, real shit.
Do you associate like with like a lot of like other people that are in the same shit as you, or do you guys kind of just like stick to yourself?
I mean, for the most part, we kind of do have to associate just because of the line of work we're in. Does that mean I love associating with everybody in OC? Nah. But OC's got a lot of real ones, which is a lot of people, they misconceive that. They really got that fucked up in their head, just that paradise image of OC. Everybody's rich as fuck, second wealthiest country county in the nation and shit. But there's a definitely dark side to OC that a lot of people don't see, and I interact with a lot of those people on the daily. So whether I like all of them or not, I'm forced to interact with them and shit like that.
What are some areas in OC that are kind of like you would say bad areas?
Where I grew up, Santa Ana. Santa Ana, a lot of people like to call it Anacrime, which is Anaheim. Stanton, Westminster got parts, All those areas are no different than, streets of Compton, Watts, all that type of shit. There's different gangs there, but there's still gangs, Everything that goes on in Watts and Compton and all the bad areas in LA go on in OC in those major cities in central OC.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay. Would you say, how did you, so you say you started like your drugs addiction from smoking weed because you just couldn't smoke weed, so you went to the next best thing?
Yeah.
Or how did that happen?
I had a 2-week tolerance break after 4 years of smoking, like all day, every day type shit. And then took a 2-week tolerance break just to get high again because I wasn't really getting it no more. Wasn't feeling it. And then as soon as I smoked that few hits off the blunt type shit, like I just had a massive panic attack and shit like that. At first I thought I got laced, but then I was like, just kind of fuck it. It's a bad interaction with weed. And I probably smoked for a month after that panic attack. And then eventually I was like, you know what, I'm not feeling good no more off this shit. So I just quit. And then I was sober for a good minute before I went on to opioids, but it did happen. You know what I'm saying? Like pretty recently after.
Okay. Do you think the interview would have went the way it went if Adam was there, like being like the mediator, like in the middle, like how they've done before with like Sharp and like Kazumi or whoever else?
Yeah.
How do you think that probably would have went different?
I mean, I feel like it would have gone different if it was somebody who was genuinely gonna mediate it. I've never really seen an interview with Sharp and Adam together interviewing somebody that Sharp clearly has it out for. But I feel like Sharp was going to say what he wanted to say regardless of who was there with him. But that being said, that's why I don't understand why he brought Almighty along with him. Like you could have easily chewed me out on your own if that's what you were set out to do from the beginning without Almighty being there to, basically just dick ride you the whole time.
Yeah.
But yeah, I feel like if Adam had been there, it would have been maybe a little bit more, maybe you could have heard what was happening a little more instead of just a screaming match. Mm-hmm. But I feel like that still would have been inevitable either way, the screaming match.
No, yeah, most definitely. So you mentioned that that your mom's that took you there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
What does she think happened? I'm curious to know.
Well, basically, she just thought it was a studio session. I was like, there's this older rapper. He doesn't really make music no more, talking about Sharp, which is true. I'm pretty sure he did some music back in the day. And I was like, yeah, we're just going to talk about life and do a studio session. So I didn't lie to her. I just didn't tell her exactly what was going on because I don't need her up in my business in that sense. But a lot of people think that, oh, I just dragged my homeless mom out of the tent she's living in and made her drive my car and chauffeur me and all that. My mom's got an apartment. It's a shared apartment, but she's again not any different than us, where we're not on the street in a tent homeless. We're not legally, tied to one location, one address. But yeah, I mean, I saw it as a good bonding experience. I hadn't seen her in probably 2 months. So I was like, yeah, she got nothing going on. I got nothing going on. I'll get her lunch. We'll make a little bit of a day out of it. So that's what happened,
That's cool. That's cool.
Yeah. But I got hated on it for that. It was like, ain't no real P having their mom drive him to an interview. I'm like, bro, if you want to look at it that way, ain't no respected P really doing interviews until they're out of the game and shit like that. But like I said, like you said, digital pivot, new age, new era. So, what's going to happen is going to happen. But yeah, as far as that goes, I paid for the car, paid for the gas, I bought my mom lunch. Wasn't nothing really wrong with that,
No, most definitely. That brings up something I'll ask you off camera.
For sure.
Off camera. But so when you pulled up with your mom, you said Sharp greeted you. How did walk us through how that happened?
Yeah. So I was texting one of the people from No Jumper, one of the publicists or whatever. They told me how to get in. They said come through the back door. I went in the back door, greeted by the security guard. Sharp was still in an interview. So the time he told me to pull up, the interview didn't actually start. I didn't even meet him until probably like an hour and a half, 2 hours after that point, when I was already in the building just sitting there watching a movie. And I told the security guard, I was like, yo, make sure my mom, when she went off to the bathroom, I was like, make sure my mom's not in the room, can't hear the interview because she doesn't know what's going on. And I'm pretty sure he told that to Sharp, but Sharp just came up and started greeting my mom and shit like this and like acting like basically running his mouth about what was going on, what the interview was about. I'm like, bro, I know the security guard just walked in there and told you some shit and you're really gonna just, you know, go behind my back and do that shit anyway. So it kind of like got me fucked up because I thought my mom was gonna chew me out for it, but you know, I got Sharp to a point when we were in the room together that he didn't invite my mom in because she didn't know what was going on, so it worked out. My mom didn't really have a clue afterward either.
No, yeah, most definitely, most definitely. Do you see yourself still in the game like years down the road, or do you have like a plan or the digital pivot, or what do you?
As much as I would love to get out of this shit, I see myself in it for the foreseeable future for sure, because it's hard to make those transitions, you know, even with OnlyFans. Like, I would be doing it more if I was getting paid for it more, and I'm grinding at it for sure. She's grinding at it 100%, giving it, you know, all her effort, but I see myself in this for the foreseeable future because, you know, it's working. And I know the risks behind it, but it's working, so.
Yeah, most definitely. Would you say, what do you have to say to, like, the people in the comments that are, like, calling you a perpetrator, this, that, and the third, you know? Because at the end of the day, you know, there's a key component to be considered in the game, right? You got to have that partner in crime.
Yeah.
So if you got that, essentially, that's what you're doing. What's your response to, like, the people that are saying, like, you know, you're fake and you're a perpetrator and all this type of stuff?
I want them to look deep inside themselves and think about, could they really be in the position I'm in? You know what I'm saying? Like, are they in the position I'm in? I'm guaranteeing that the answer is going to be no for more than 50% of those people. But I'm also going to tell them, don't stop hating, because that's just running me up, you know. Y'all are real close to getting my channel monetized, so keep commenting, keep viewing, keep saying that hateful shit. It's all helping me out in the end, so yeah. But nah, they really can't do what I do, and I think that's why they hate them. Why they hate on me? Yeah, they ain't getting money like me, so.
Do you think that the interview would have went different, you know, had you had been, like, you know, a black person doing it versus, you said you're Hispanic or whatever?
Yeah, a lot of people are like, oh, he's mixed, but he's Hispanic, but he's white, he's 4 different races. No, I'm 50% white, 50% Mexican. And before people say, like, you're Chicano, not Mexican, I spent a lot of time in my childhood in Mexico. My mom was born and raised in Mexico. So I guess, you know, technically I'm Chicano, but I consider myself Mexican. You know, I got my proud heritage there. But as far as race being an issue in the interview, yeah, I feel like if I was just a little more ethnic looking, not even what I really was, but if I was, like, you know, mixed with somebody that had darker skin or something like that, then yeah, I feel like it would have probably gone a little different. I didn't want to believe that because I feel like race shouldn't be an issue in anything, but it is in this day and age. You know, it is definitely an issue still. So yeah, I feel like if I was a different color, maybe it would have gone a lot differently.
That's right. Did you write those numbers on that piece of paper?
Oh, nah. I mean, if you look at the piece of paper, like I told Sharp to do, and he clearly did, but I just told him not to read it out, and I said that on camera because those are some serious, you know, items that I had in my possession. If you look at the amounts of those items and, you know, the money, it all corresponds. I'm not saying, obviously, I wasn't selling drugs, but to be able to afford that amount of shit, and again, not just in relation to drugs, but the other stuff I had, the shit that was all taken in that raid, it matches up. So no, I didn't write that number on the paper. And for anybody saying I did, you know, you can call the sheriffs, pretend to be me if you really want to, and find out for yourself. But, you know, I didn't write that. I ain't faking nothing.
Okay. Why is it, do you feel like Sharp went hard on you, and why do you think his interview went the way it went with you and Big Church versus other people?
Neither one of us, me and Big Church, we wouldn't fold. You know, he wanted us, and he told me in the FaceTime he wanted me to basically come out and admit I was perpetrating the whole time, faking it. and then switch the conversation to some game where he was going to basically tell me shit I already knew about how I can get into the digital age and all this shit, not even relating to OnlyFans, but YouTube and music and all that. So I really just think since I didn't fold, that's why he continued throwing shit at me, because he was like, oh, damn, I really can't break this dude. So I'm going to say whatever, you know? And that's what he did.
Okay. So you've I see you have your YouTube page, right?
Yeah, I just started that shit in terms of videos and not just music. I just started that shit like a few days after the interview because I was like, might as well capitalize, maybe get my channel monetized off all this clout.
No, most definitely. Do you have a direction you're going with that?
Yeah, I was telling my supporters and haters the other day, I'm really gonna take this YouTube shit more seriously. It'll still be a side hustle, but I'm gonna stay consistent with it. So you can all expect more content in the future. I don't know what kind of content specifically that's gonna be. Probably gonna be all over the place till I find my niche. But yeah, definitely expect more content.
Okay. What Okay, back to you, Crystal. Is this something that you actually enjoy type doing, or do you just do this just for, this is what's gonna in due time help get you guys to the next level of where you guys may be trying to go with what y'all got going on?
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, I enjoy it. It's, there's a little reward aspect, like, up here in the brain.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I like doing what I'm doing. I wouldn't be here if I didn't like doing what I'm doing, because that's no fun for anyone, you know?
By choice, not force.
And exactly. So, yeah, I'd say I enjoy what I'm doing. Yeah.
Okay. And you say you was like in the game or whatever before you met him, like, so this is something that you've always kind of like.
I dabbled around like by myself, but nothing really like stuck, or like I didn't really make anything big, or nothing really huge happened from it. But when we started hanging out, then that's when it really picked up.
What actually got you into it? That's what I'm curious. Like, what got you started? Like, how did
Probably just my lifestyle of how I grew up. Like how kids my age or whatever would view me and stuff, And so it kind of just, I realized I had something people wanted. So why not capitalize off of it?
Damn straight.
I ain't mad at that. So I'd imagine, like, growing up, you was probably would you say like a very sexually active person, so to speak, is what helped you get to?
I wouldn't say at first I was very sexually active, but very much people hitting me up and texting me asking for photos or to get intimate. Yeah, definitely.
Oh, okay. And then you just.
And then from there it picked up.
Okay. Have you had an encounter that was like, have you ever had like a super fun, like dope encounter where it's been like, this is actually kind of cool? With like a client or something, like going on a yacht or some shit, or fucking, going out to some crazy ass dinner and getting showered and all these, like, have you ever experienced any things like that?
Nothing crazy so far, no, but I definitely have people where they're like, afterwards, they're like, I feel like I've known you for years, or we have this special connection or whatever. So that always kind of I don't know, boosts my little ego that I have, makes me feel like I'm doing something right,
Yeah.
But as terms of showering me with gifts and everything like that, no, I haven't experienced that yet. No.
Okay. Do you have like a certain type of client that you prefer to deal with versus that you don't like to deal with?
Yes, I do. I like, well, I don't know how to describe it necessarily, but there's just a certain vibe you get from people, Like you can tell what they're really about, what their true intentions are, inside, And so sometimes I'll like meet up and I'm not like too excited, you know. I'm just like, okay, like let's finish, you know, or whatever. But then there are other people where it's like, yeah, I actually like, you know, talking to them and things like that, sharing time with them. Yeah.
Okay. Did you and the other girl ever like bump heads or anything like that?
And with this, no, but we are friends, you know, so we bump heads as much as any other girlfriends do. But with this stuff, no.
Okay. And you guys, what do you have to say to the people that's watching, or you know, what would you like to end it on?
I'd like to tell all y'all, you know, everybody watching this and people that may stumble across it from any walk of life or anything like that, always stay progressing in life, no matter what you're doing, no matter what your thing is in life, whether it's streets or academics or whatever. You know, try as much as possible to stay on the right path. Everybody's right path is different, but when I say right path, I'm talking society's right path, because you don't ever want to be in a position where this is like your only option type shit. You want to always, you know, stay on a path where you have good and bad options, and eventually just be able to live your life free and happy.
Okay, and one more thing.
Yeah.
So the comment section from No Jumper to Soft White Underbelly is completely different, right?
Oh yeah.
You have the No Jumper, which is more so of like, you know, they're clowning you.
Yeah,
this, that,
yeah,
and
it's
the
more a
third.
comedy skit.
But Soft
type
White, it's more of like a sympathetic type of thing.
Yeah.
People are saying, you know, these kids, they should do something different. Da. What's your response to the more sympathetic people from Soft White Underbelly?
Yeah. I mean, if you guys look at us, I mean, it's not really doable too much, but if you guys from Soft White Underbelly, the commenters, were able to look at us on a day-to-day, you'd see that we're living it up, you know, as much as our circumstances allow. But, you know, we're going out to eat, we're hitting the mall, we're having fun, you know, on a day-to-day. There's work involved for both of us, but it's not like anything crazy, you know, that we don't understand we got to do and that we hate doing, you know. We enjoy it because it boosts our ego and shit like that. But yeah, really just don't judge us so much off a 25-minute interview. You know, we're both living good. We're both in pretty nice clothes and shit like that. We're both eating good food in our stomach, 3 meals a day shit. So yeah, we're having a good life.
Okay, cool, man. Well, appreciate you for
Most definitely.
for tapping in.
Hell yeah.
You know, and shout out to Capone for having you.
Yes, sir. Thank you guys both for having me. I appreciate that.
Yeah, man. And you know, I would like to end it on you know, just try to stay out the way, man, and
Yes, sir.
try to plan for something next. You know
Yeah,
what I'm saying?
exactly.
Because the game doesn't love anyone. You know,
That's facts.
it'll chew you up and spit you out.
It will.
And yeah.
Yes, sir. I appreciate that. And with that being said, y'all have a great rest of your day. Thank you for having me.
Yeah.